So here we have the second game of the second round of Swiss. I'm myself on the left there playing Jinteki Personal Evolution, and Sai on the right once more playing Reina Roja. So plenty of denial elements in the deck, I dare say. I did take a mulligan, and so hence the reason why I'm drawing 6 cards there rather than 5, just incorporating my mandatory draw straight off into it. Sai didn't take a mulligan, and so he's straight out of the bat. So I can see he's got the Corroder and a few other nasty bits and pieces. So first click, icing up R&D. I'm going to get some thought here as to I think whether I want to ice up HQ or R&D. I know I do have a couple of agendas in hand there. I draw, play a hedge fund, so it's worthwhile drawing. And so there we go, that's my first 3 clicks. So I'd have left HQ completely open. But again, running early against Jinteki is often dangerous, particularly if you have what you need in hand already, which by the looks of it, Sai certainly does. So he plays short gamble first click, second click is Corroder, getting his pieces on the board rather than risking taking some snares to the face, and he draws up for the next 2 clicks. So mandatory draw for the corporation. Again, I think I was short on ice here, hence the reason why I didn't ice up HQ, and I think I'm desperately searching for it here. So draw first click. I'm a bit wary that I also don't want to get rid of much in my hand. It's not a bad hand. So I'm going to Celebrity Gift. I'm keeping 1 card hidden, and I'm showing him 5. Looks like I've got an Orthodox Prediction, a Fetal AI, a Trick of Light, a Snare, and something else. Not quite sure what the bottom card is there. But it's not exactly an unappealing hand to run there. Obviously there is a Fetal, there is a Snare, but at the same time you would have to assume that the card I've left behind is probably another agenda. A Mimic goes down, which is not what you want to see playing Jinteki, since that again completely negates now my Neural Katanas and so forth. I forgot to discard there, so I was just discarding a card. Katie goes down second click. Third click I believe is going to put 3 on Katie. He's going to draw and then 3 on Katie. So I didn't fancy running against HQ there. Despite there being agendas, I'm going to score the Clone Retirement out of hand, which is I'm pretty sure what I had there as the hidden card when I did my teacup giraffe. And I discard a medium, which I'm quite happy to do because I'm pretty sure that that's either a Neural Katana or an Ice Wall there on R&D, and that could have gotten all kinds of unpleasant. So he is short on cash. He's playing all his cards. Deep Red goes down as a console. So suddenly Cassie's become a real threat. They can go onto the ice directly. Obviously Rook potentially here could do some damage. Though my economy is fairly solid. And you have to love Jinteki Burst Economy. I finally see that piece of ice that I've been searching for HQ, which immediately makes it feel a little bit more stable. I probably, again, I think I remember putting that down and thinking to myself, should I have set up the remote there ready for scoring agendas rather than sticking it on HQ? It's always the difficult one of do you protect what you've got, or do you try and score it out of hand so that it's a non-issue? So setting up the remote there, possibly a Jackson Howard, maybe a Snare, and maybe an agenda. Could be a Fetal that I'm just not too bothered about, and hoping he runs into and hits. Sometimes again as Jinteki it's good to sort of reach with a jab, so to speak, and kind of get a feel for the range, see what the runner will do in any given circumstance, so that you can predict them in the later stages of the game. Setting up remotes undefended is a really interesting mark of what the runner will do in any given situation. So first click he runs, and he scores in on Orthodox Prediction. It's very much important information. I think I did that because I wasn't expecting him to run on it particularly, hadn't him seen my hand. But it's very useful to know that he wasn't going to leave a remote undefended in play like that, unadvanced. It's something that I decided to use. I just scored another Clone Retirement out of hand. I love Clone Retirement. It's a card that has done Jinteki absolute wonders. Again, particularly this deck, which is full on rush, fast advance. Anyway, first click he's clearing his Katie. He's going to sure gamble second click. Third click he's going to draw. And fourth click he's going to draw. again, probably didn't need to clear as Katie in that situation, unless you're very, very worried about the corporation being able to give tags on their turn. It's worth, again, probably just still doing exactly the same thing and just keep advancing her until you actually need her. Anyway, 2 remotes established here. So we're going to feel him out now, because you're going to test his jab, so to speak. So he runs into a Sansan, which he'll trash for 5. Is he going to run on the second remote? He is. And he sees the snare, which again I put down expecting him to run, having seen how he reacted to the first undefended card. And I think he's probably encouraged by the fact that he saw the Sansan down first. But it has soaked up a huge amount of his economy effectively, because he now cleared the tag as well as just trashing the Sansan. So economically he didn't get a huge amount of gain out of his Katie Jones there. And I'm using this opportunity now to install into a remote and ice it up. Only really code gates here that are going to do any work whatsoever. He's installing a clone chip, so he's got a knight there in his heap, which he can now pull out and stick on a piece of ice as he runs whenever he needs it. So here's the point really, I think, where running aggressively would have probably gained him some advantage. There's no piece of ice that he can't break. He still has probably enough money to be able to do it, and he certainly has the breakers that he needs, again including the knight he has there in his heap, and again scored the brain trust. I mean, that's probably the key point in this game, I think. If he'd scored that brain trust, suddenly things look very different. But me scoring that brain trust did significant damage to the game state and really forced the pressure on the runner. He now has to dance to my tune as opposed to the other way around, and he certainly has the means and the tools with which to do it. It's just a case of being aggressive, using Rayna's ability, trying to get as much value out of it as possible, soak up my economy and my credits. I'm not going to res. I think I was again quite agenda flooded, and I was feeling fairly confident that the chances of him hitting an agenda and R&D weren't particularly high. I think I got three or four agendas there in hand. So again, it's not a case of I think that's the overwhelming majority now of my agendas are probably either in my hand or on the board. So I'm going to install and take 2 credits. Suddenly, again, the economy can swing very quickly here in Rayna's favour. So I'm going to run on the remote, seeing the Chimera, which obviously goes in as a code gate. And I think here he makes the mistake of bouncing off rather than using his clone chip. Which again is so easy to do in a tournament situation, so easy to do. So yeah, he bounces off and draws. These are the little details that really can make such a huge difference in a tournament situation, is remembering to use your abilities and use the cards you have on the board to the most advantage possible. Again, I can't quite recall what was in the remote. We're about to find out. And if it's an agenda, then again, it's another key moment in the game that could have been very different. So I do triple advance and score a profiteering, which really came at the perfect time, because my economy was starting to low, and I'm now at a point where I completely reset my economy and take 15 credits. I don't care about the bad publicity at this point, particularly because he's got a full breaker suite effectively. Trash a card there. His economy is looking fairly sharp, and I'm on 5 agenda points, so again, forcing the pressure. All I've got to do now is get the brain trust, and it's over if I can get any fast advance elements out, such as an ice wall, trick of light, whatever it might be. So hit the Enigma, and again, it's that decision now of whether he uses the clone chip or not. I think at this point he remembers that he can use the clone chip. Yep. And again, it's on these little details that suddenly the whole game can rest. Having the tools to be able to do it. So he even had a Yogg there in the heap, which he uses, and obviously can use his bad publicity to install as well, because it's mid-run. He runs and sees a Fetal, which is always the card you want them to steal if they're going to steal something. 3 net damage and 2 credits there. You have to draw back up again there for his remaining clicks. Oh, I think he's got 1 click left, sorry. And he draws again. So yeah, draw up for the remaining clicks. And passing over the turn. So it's 3 points to 5. I've got the Trick of Light in hand, but I don't think I've got the Ice Wall installed. Economically I'm solid, but it's just a problem. I think this is the Ice Wall here, and it's a question of where I install it. Do I bother trashing the Enigma because Yogg's out? I've got the money, it's not really that much of an issue, and what I don't ever want to have to happen is to get rid of all my code gates so that he doesn't need to have it out. I think probably the stronger play here would have been to trash the Enigma and just not to worry about it really, because again he's got no problems with memory because he has Deep Red out. So if he does bring out a whole bunch of Cassia programs, he's got the memory to be able to do it. He's never going to be in a position where he needs to trash his Yogg. He's going to run HQ. At this point, pretty much all my ice is absolutely pointless because he can break through any of it. It's all low strength, end the run ice almost predominantly, all of which is within range of Yogg, Mimic and Corroder predominantly. There's no ice there that he has to be worried about, and certainly there's no reason to spend the money on the ice. The only other ice I have in the deck that can cause significant problems is Archer, and that's only a one-off, and it's just again to keep the runner aware. I usually tell him it's in the deck and say, just watch out. So he does run, he steals the Unorthodox Predictions, taking him up to 4 points. Trash the extra copy of Corroder, which he has absolutely no need for. So, again, it's a difficult one here. He's in a very, very good position breaker-wise. He has everything he needs. Economically, he's solid with 3 bad publicity. But I am going to claim the win there with the Brain Trust in hand, the Trick of Light, the double advancement, and then advance it myself. So, again, he's running HQ. It's the right move. It was definitely the right play. And if he'd hit the Brain Trust, it would have been a different story. Brain Trust really is the most important card, I think, in Jinteki and agenda-wise at the moment. Purely and simply because it's the only 3-2 agenda. He wasn't going to get any joy there out of R&D for a while. So certainly not tackling R&D was the right shout. But speed is the key with Jinteki. I find it's all about getting those early agenda points, putting the pressure on the corporation, the runner, sorry, to make moves they perhaps wouldn't want to otherwise. But even with the full breaker suite, this deck does very well against the runner. It can just fast advance its way to victory. So it came again very well, did very well for me. That's now 3 wins to 1 loss, and on to the next.